Hi folks, first thing you're going to do is you're going to search for Bridge Designer in your computer. If it doesn't pop up from the beginning like it does on mine, you can go ahead and just start typing in Bridge Designer. And you're going to get something that looks like this, Bridge Designer 2016, second edition, or something to that effect. If you get an error like this one, you can go ahead and click a few times OK until it goes away. And then you're going to get a screen that looks like this. You can go ahead and close the design tips of the day. And we're going to start a sample bridge design. So we are going to go back later and create a new bridge, but for the time being, click on Load a Sample Bridge Design and click OK. Now notice you'll have the OK button kind of hidden away at the bottom, but what we're going to do over the next few days is kind of go through each one of these different types of bridges. There's a whole bunch of them. It looks like there's about 10 different kinds. But we're going to start off with the basic suspension bridge, and then we're going to just get over to the bottom and click OK. Then you're going to get something that looks like this. So let me go over what all of these things are. Right? So we have our bridge, we have a gorge, some sort of a canyon, and a river or whatever that we need to cross. So we have different tools. We have a tool that selects joints, and we'll talk about what those are, members, selecting, and erasing. So these guys here, each piece here, it's called a member. And now what it did right now actually is I clicked and it put a little dot on it because I have the joint tool selected, but I don't want that. So I'm going to go with the eraser and click on that and get rid of that, that joint if it lets me. It looks like it's gonna, we'll have to figure that out later. But maybe I'll try, there we go. Select that and then looks like it deleted my whole thing. So let's fix that. We're going to click on joint and we can select on one and drag across to the other and it'll make that joint. So each joint is a piece of a bridge. Each member is a piece of a bridge, and each dot, each joint is where they join together. So we have different kinds of materials. We have a carbon steel, we have high strength steel, we have tubes, we have bars, we have different sizes, etc. So the goal is going to be to construct different types of bridges that will meet different types of requirements depending on what the assignment is going to be. So right now, one thing that I want you to do is if you can click on the select tool, that's a little arrow, right? And notice that I can select this guy here and it lights up over on the right. That means that this is a carbon steel solid bar, 110 millimeters in diameter, and then it's got 5 meters in length. This is all in metric, right? And also up here on the left, you see carbon steel. I can change the type of material from carbon steel to high strength low alloy steel, quenched and tempered steel. We don't really need to know what those are necessarily, but they are different types of steels. And we go with a solid bar or a hollow tube. Why we would want to go with one versus the other is one is cheaper and lighter. So the other thing to notice right now is you have a price. We have $290,000.29 according to this setup for this particular bridge. And depending on how we change things, we could end up with something that is cheaper or more expensive. Another thing to kind of look at that is kind of cool, and I know it looks kind of small, but right now we are in the drawing board view. If I scoot over to the right where it says run the load test animation, it'll give you an animation of something going over the bridge. And that's assuming that it is going to go over the bridge. But I think what happened is when I fixed mine, I broke the bridge. So let's go, oh, that's this guy here. So it looks like for whatever reason I picked the wrong size when I put it on there. So let's make it a little bit stronger, and I'm just going to go 140. I'm just going to go all the way to the biggest one, and then we can try it again. There we go. So you'll notice that the truck makes it all the way across. The bridge does flex, and we have blue and red colors on some of our members. That means that they are either in tension or compression. Tension meaning that they are being pulled apart, and compression that they are being squeezed. Right? So we can go back to the drawing board in here. So you'll notice that all I had to do was change that particular member, and it actually got my price up by a little bit, $297,000. But let's see, $297,000.08. If I were to go a little bit cheaper, let's see, 150 by 1. Let's go 140 by 140. And it looks like it's a little bit cheaper. And then I can go back and go to the animation, see if this still works, or if it is not, or if it's going to break. It looks like it still works, and I saved myself a few bucks, right? So this is kind of the way we're going to be doing this. You're going to try and optimize your bridge designs to make sure that the truck is able to go across and have the cheapest bridge possible. So now, for example, here I have a solid bar, 120 by 120. Let's see if we can go to 110 by 110 and make it a little bit cheaper. And it looks like it was able to go. So I saved a few dollars there. And I'm going to go and make it even more. Let's say how about 100 by 100. And at this point it failed. So we know that this particular thing caused this one to take on too much load. So I can go back to this and change that. And what should happen is, if everything works out okay, it'll go back to going all the way across, and it does. All right. So you can play around with that and see how things are going to work out. So what we're going to want to do is make some changes, optimize our bridge to make it the absolute least expensive we can, and then we're going to choose a different kind of bridge, right? So when we can go to File, we can go to Open Sample Design and click on the second one. The one we were just on was a 44-meter span. We can go to a 20-meter span and click OK, and that brings us to our second bridge. Now from here, if you want to save your results, you can go to File, Save As, and pick a directory and go ahead and put in the type of bridge that it was. So in this case, it would have been a suspension 22. I believe that was the length of it. So you can go suspension 22, and then click OK, right? Anyway, try that out for a little while and see how things go for you.